Hey guys, Monster here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are continuing on with our little mini-series here of checking out a bunch of older characters that can be run on the physical trio team and benefit from their huge amount of defensive support to see if that makes them somewhat usable in the meta. So today, as you can see, we are taking a look at the TEQ LR GoBros. So these guys released as a global first. And I remember I got very lucky summoning for them, pulled them pretty much straight away, which then turned out to be a godsend for me because these were before the 4th anniversary. I didn't pull AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but thanks to these guys having that leader skill, it means I was still able to run like a Goku family category team. So I was a big fan of this unit on release. I really like the family Kamehameha from the second Broly movie, although this one with like the straight on view is not like my favorite interpretation of it. I'm kind of hoping still that we get a new one in part 2 with the side on view with the 3 of them where it's all blue. Looks very cool. But anyway, we have these guys, and these guys got their Easy A as part of the Turles celebration and were probably like resoundingly by the community considered to be very disappointing. So I figured we might as well give them a go here and see how they can benefit from all this extra defense. So remember, they do raise defense on both of their super attacks. They're greatly raising attack and then normal raising defense for one turn with the 12 keys, and then the 18 key is the greatly raise attack and raise defense for one turn. So basically the same super attack effects aside from Colossal and Mega Colossal, but at least they're raising defense on both their supers. They start off with 158, they launch an additional attack, there's a high chance to become a super. They get extra key per keys for obtain, which is useful because they do kind of have key issues early on due to their links. They do get extra key and attack and defense with each attack performed. They get an additional 59% attack and defense and launch an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super when there's an ally whose name includes Goku attacking in the same turn. So obviously that makes them a very good unit to run with these guys, because not only are they giving them a ton of support, but these guys obviously have Goku in the name. So that does work out very nicely for these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in slot 1 here, because we don't want them to take too many attacks. They're starting off at 289k. Now obviously they're going to start building up as they get attacks off. We should be able to get, yeah, we can get the Bulma support here as well. So that is going to put them up a little bit. So we'll see how we get on. So not the crazy, actually, is that, it's got to be, surely that's 15 mil, not 1.5, right? That would be awful if that was 1.5 to start the first turn. So unfortunately, this is where they're always going to look bad, is just like in Broly before his Easy A, or even with his Easy A now, like you kind of rely on the RNG of the additionals, because they are going to look considerably worse if they're only doing additional normals. At least with the way their passive builds up, it is with any attack, so it doesn't matter too much in terms of building up the passive if they're only doing additional normals. But obviously they're not going to be contributing like a huge amount to the team if they're not doing the damage by doing all the additional super attacks. But decent enough attack, I guess, for the first turn. 15 mil. They share, was it 3 links with these guys? So yeah, we'll float off Gogeta here, put you in slot 1. In fact, let me get the, I won't get an additional super with Gogeta, because ideally we don't want to one turn these phases, because we do want to see as many turns as possible with the support. I like running the blue Gogeta stage because it is, you know, not super hard, but it's still in that upper echelon of like the difficult events on global at the moment, right, until we get the final stage of the Universe Survival Saga Blue Zone. I'm assuming that they're saving those for the release of LR Jiren, right, because they came out in part 2 of the Tanabata celebration on JP with him, and obviously haven't come out on global yet, even though we've got the first 4 stages already. So those will be a ways away. And then of course eventually we'll get to, when we get to the end of the worldwide celebration, we'll have the whatever the most difficult new content is from this celebration, the final stage of the movie edition Blue Zone. So hopefully that fight will be interesting, and you know, could end up being the new hardest fight in the game. I mean, I guess if the final boss is AGL and doesn't have like something really annoying like rotation locking, these guys could potentially end up being useful. But I think with the thing with the support from the physical trio is it makes some of these units runnable, but it doesn't make them like, you know, oh, I'm definitely putting them straight on the team build now. Like, even like I say with the GoBros, even if it was like an AGL boss, would you necessarily be putting them straight on the team? Potentially not, but could still be useful. And then let's see what we get for... Let me double check their condition for the active skill. We're getting very lucky with, like, we could just put them in slot 1 and get a bunch of attacks off. So we've got Super Saiyan, Golden Warrior, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. It's a shame they don't have all in the family, because obviously that does give a decent amount of defense. But you can see straight away on the second turn, we've now got the support from both the physical trios, because they've both been on rotation. 485k start of turn. Obviously no Bulma support on this turn, but... means we can get one more super off here. Let's double check that active skill condition. Theirs is really annoying, isn't it? It's when HP is 59% or less and facing only one enemy. So, I mean, the one enemy part's not too bad, but we have to get to 59% or less HP, which on this team is actually, like, not that easy to do because the team is very good. I mean, you can obviously get the odd thing like God Goku not dodging an attack or something like that, but 18 million now for the attack. Because bear in mind, the physical trio are giving all like defensive support. So that's with them without any attack support as well. Relatively good. Nothing like insane, obviously, but definitely not bad. So this rotation, we can now have the Bulma support going into the next turn. So we'll go ahead and do this. And then, yeah, I want to make sure, I don't necessarily care about getting the more than the 5 orbs for the support, but we need to make sure we're getting the support if nothing else. So, right, so these guys are going to eat a super in slot 1. They should be okay. Yeah, 118 damage. I would say that's pretty good. And then 16. I mean, the fact that this unit does like the damage that they do on top of being as good as they are defensively, I still think is crazy. Like, this is why it's very tough not to have them, I guess, as number 1. But I think Beast, as I talked about in the tier list that I did, like, Beast Gohan is still just so good with the protection that he gives to the team. Because that's the thing, these guys are buffing a lot of these older units, but they're not saving them from, like, you know, if on the next turn Gogeta is going to super attack the GoBros. Like, you know, having that bit of extra raw defense isn't going to be enough for them to not die. Whereas obviously Beast Gohan has the target ability, which then protects the entire rotation. So I do think he has that little extra bit of value, but it's hard not to have these guys at 1. I mean, I said in that tier list video, right, the top 3 I feel like are fairly interchangeable at the moment, which is definitely a good thing for the game, right? Like, it's funny when Beast was the best unit and he kind of gapped the entire game, whereas now we have a much closer... like top 3, I think, even top 4 potentially, depending on your thoughts on Cell Max and whether or not he is better than the general consensus top 3. But yeah, good to have actual solid good units to arguably have as the top tiers. But yeah, see, this is the kind of turn where it's unfortunate for them as well, because like, well, unless we use the standby, I guess, because they're not going to get any they're not going to get a chance to attack here otherwise, because the trio probably just kills Gogeta here. So we've only attacked, what is it, 4 times in total, or is it 5? Are they fully built up? I'm not sure, because unfortunately if we transform with the trio we obviously lose the support, but then they get extra defense to all allies with each physical orb obtained, but there's not going to be any physical orbs because Goku changes the int orbs only into physical, and there's barely any int orbs on the field. So I think we probably just have to go ahead and do this, put them in slot 1 and hope that they don't kill. But I mean, if they're not critting, they won't. I should have transformed Gogeta as well. That's a bit of a mistake. Shouldn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, it'd be a shame if we can't get the active skill. It's very much like the STR Carnival Goku showcase that we did earlier. Unfortunately, some of these units, they may be runnable again, like if their defense can get up to reasonable levels, but, you know, you're not going to see some of these active skills still, which is a little bit unfortunate. Plus, of course, remember the GoBros, like, they can build up a relatively decent amount of defense, but they don't have any, like, damage reduction or anything like that. So, against this final phase, when obviously Gogeta becomes an AoE that we have to worry about, that could certainly be tricky for them, but we'll see how that pans out here. Let's float off God Goku, I think, here. Yeah, I don't like missing out on the extra support that they give by not having the... If we're going to transform with them, then I kind of want them to have the... like a ton of physical orbs to pick up. And because we know Goku only changes the int orbs, it doesn't really help all that much. So we'll do that. And then do that. So they're going to get supered straight away. They should be okay, even with only 20 ki. Yeah, 231. Well, I mean, realistically, we do want to take some damage, although I think that's not enough. Like 59%, now that teams have as much HP as they do, hitting the HP restriction for the GoBros active skill isn't going to be particularly easy either. So that's something we definitely have to consider. Because, yeah, we've barely lost, like, even 30% of our HP, so we're not going to be able to use their active skill on the next turn. I mean, this guy can double super, but, I mean, everybody else on the rotation, realistically, Future Gohan will tank a super, and then God Goku would die to a super if he doesn't dodge it, so either way, there's not really going to be much of a scenario here where we get to see the GoBros active skill on the next turn, but I guess we'll see how the rest of it pans out here, but obviously the Future Gohan able to do a pretty decent amount of damage. I think Future Gohan's like a must-run unit on this team for me. Like, good links with the trio, gets the 200% leader skill from them, super good defensively after supering. Like, he's a unit that has gotten significantly better with the release of these other, like, 200% teams for him. I keep mentioning it quite a lot in videos because I like to run him on this team, but he definitely is significantly better now. Because I feel like after the Worldwide last year, you know, we got things like Vegeta leading a new Super Saiyan team, but then he didn't get the 200% leader skill from him. It was only the 170. So he can still be good on that team, but obviously not like at his full potential. But yeah, this team I think is really, really good for him. So yeah, God Goku gets the dodge. I think at this point, because of attack lowering, he would have taken double digits from a normal anyway. Okay, so this is where we can get an interesting turn for these guys now, because if we stand by with you, so now we can get a ton of physical orbs. So let's see the change, like that puts them down to having 434k, because currently Goku's not giving them any defensive support. But then we do this, and we pick up 12 physical orbs. So now we have 527k, and then bear in mind that we're obviously going to get a buff from Bulma, who we are going to give the active skill. So we change the orb field, supercharge the standby ability, and then let's see what we get here on this turn. I mean, again, this is kind of one of those things where the physical trio, like, not only are they giving this defensive support that makes these units a little bit easier to run, but, like, they can function as the slot 1 unit for the team as well. So, like, the GoBros, for example, need a good slot 1 unit to be run with, because they can't really be in slot 1 themselves. So, having these guys, having the trio be as good as they are, helps them out significantly. Yeah, decent damage. I mean, they're not doing anything crazy, but, you know, bearing in mind how old the EZA is, I think it's definitely not too bad. We've got an AoE in slot 1, so we know we're not getting supered in slot 1, that's good. So I think we can just go all in like this. Hopefully Gogeta gets the dodge. I mean, he's getting the benefit of the defense buff from the other turns as well, so he's at 400. Future Gohan at 731k. With all of the damage reduction that he has, like, that's very, very good. It's another reason why he's great on this team. Like, he's not just getting the 200% lead, but he benefits from all of those defensive buffs as well. So, definitely very, very good. Now we just have to see if we do actually one-turn Gogeta, because that does happen a lot. I feel like this STR Blue Gogeta phase, he doesn't really have a lot of HP, so... But yeah, I think anyone other than physical Gogeta on this turn could eat a super and survive, which would then leave us at a interesting amount of HP, hopefully for the GoBros to actually do their active skill. But okay, so he's not supering in slot 1, as unusual. Future Gohan continues to get his attacks off here. Okay, we're not going to one-turn him, but I don't think we're going to... Well, I say that, actually. It all depends on... we know that Gogeta is able to do a lot of damage, and Future Gohan still just keeps going here, which is great in the grand scheme of things. Not so much for if we want another turn with Gohan and Goten, but... Okay, so he's not supering, unless he's supering in the last slot here against Gogeta, who would absolutely need to dodge in order to not die. What are the chances? I mean, I would take him getting supered and living with like even 1 HP, because then at least we could actually see the active skill, but no, he just keeps on going. I do love that 12-key super though. The whole like ground exploding effect thing is super cool. Plus, of course, we remember we have to use the active skill with Goku now, otherwise we lose it. Although saying that, we could always put them in slot 1. So they're at 463k here, because obviously we haven't picked up any physical orbs with the Goku. So if we do that, will they kill 104 charges? Let's see. This is actually no, this is the friend one. What is the friend? 90%, okay. This probably kills, right? 102 charges. I guess if it doesn't crit, maybe not, but surely it does. Yeah, we get the crit anyway, so there's the KO screen. So, I mean, they didn't get to do a huge amount, but this is one of those things, like, this unit gives other units so much extra defense that you can kind of get away with using them. Because, like, before this unit came out, even for, like, a challenge run idea, if someone was, like, use the GoBros against Blue Zone Gogeta, it'd be like, oh, God. Like, what team would you even run them on to potentially get that done for this stage? But these guys give so much extra support. They can go in slot 1. The standby, if you get enough physical orbs, gives even more defensive support. So, I mean, it works out relatively well, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If there's any other units you wanted me to test out on the physical trio team to see whether they are saved by them, do let me know down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.